In this tutorial, we're going to talk about how to randomize textures in Unreal Engine. Now you'll notice that when you start out building a texture in Unreal Engine, it's just very repetitive and it's just really boring looking, and this is not really something you want to use, especially for landscapes. Maybe sometimes in industrial like architecture it's okay if it repeats, but overall you want there to be randomization. And there's a really easy feature that's been added into Unreal Engine that hasn't been talked about as much, but so far let's just look at the default right here. You just have your normal and your diffuse. So to make things a lot better and randomized, we'll switch over and I'll show you the other texture that has randomization. So the feature to add is called texture bombing. To find that, just type in as soon as you start typing in BOM, you'll find a texture bombing right there. The other setting has just a few little more parameters you can play around with, like height ratio and things like that. To keep in mind, when you want to use this feature, you'll need to use texture object instead of texture sample. It's just simpler. It's just using the texture itself, no extra parameters. But use the texture coordinates as usual, plug that into the UVs, and use your normal. Is normal map, yeah. So for tiling, you want it to be smaller values to make it look better. So anything less than 4. If you have larger values for the tiling, it just becomes more obvious that you see the pattern repeating. And the offset also affects how random it is. So let's switch over and change this landscape to use that texture. Now you see it's not so tiled. It's a very nice and simple feature that was added into Unreal Engine, and I just recommend using that instead of playing around with all those weird parameters and some other textures I've seen. But it's pretty quick, useful, makes the scene look a whole lot better.